I speak to you now, not as a stranger, but as a fellow traveler who has walked the path from the valleys of confusion to the peaks of clarity. We gather here in this space of shared consciousness to discuss the most profound discovery a human being can ever make. It is a discovery that eclipses all geographical explorations and all scientific breakthroughs because it is the discovery of the self. Most of the world walks through life in a deep and hypnotic sleep. Men and women wake up, go to work, pay their bills, fear the future, regret the past, and believe that they are merely leaves blowing in the wind of circumstance. They believe that reality is something that happens to them. They believe that the events of their lives are dictated by luck, by fate, by the economy, or by the will of others. I am here to tell you that this is the great illusion. It is the dream from which you must awaken. The purpose of this masterclass is not merely to give you hope, but to give you the keys to the prison cell you have unknowingly built around yourself. The door is not locked by a guard. The door is locked from the inside, and you hold the key. That key is your own wonderful human imagination. To understand where we are going, we must first understand where we are. Look around you at the world you inhabit. You see solid objects, you see other people, you see conditions of wealth or poverty, health or sickness. You have been taught from the moment of your birth that these things are external facts, independent of your own mind. You have been taught that to change your life, you must struggle against these facts. You must work harder, fight louder, and manipulate the physical world with physical effort. But I tell you that this approach is as futile as trying to change the expression on your face by combing the hair of your reflection in the mirror. When you look into a mirror and you see a frown, you do not try to force the mirror to smile. You know that the mirror has no power of its own. It is a faithful servant. It can only reflect what stands before it. If you want the reflection to smile, you must smile first. The world you live in is exactly like that mirror. It is a vast, multidimensional mirror that reflects not your face, but your consciousness. It reflects what you believe to be true about yourself. It reflects your assumptions, your fears, and your deepest convictions. This is the hard pill to swallow. Yet it is the medicine that cures all ills. There is no one to change but self. We often spend our lives pointing fingers at the shadows on the wall, crying out that the shadows are menacing, that the shadows are cold, that the shadows are unfair. We fight the shadows, we argue with them, we try to sweep them away, but we forget to look back at the light source that is casting them. You are the light. You are the operant power. Nothing appears in your world unless it has first been conceived in your consciousness. This is why we call this the awakening of the Creator. To awaken means to stop blaming the mirror. It means to accept the total and radical responsibility for your existence. When you accept that you are the author of the play, you stop feeling victimized by the plot twists. You realize that if you wrote the tragedy, you have the equal and absolute power to write the triumph. Let us go deeper into this concept of the Creator. Who is this Creator? Religions have separated man from God, placing the creative power on a throne in the sky or in a distant historical past. They tell you that God created the world and then stepped back. But I tell you that creation is finished, yet the play is always active. The creative power of the universe is not a distant deity. It is your own consciousness. It is your own I am. When you say I am, you are announcing your presence. But more than that, you are defining your reality. Whatever you attach to those two words becomes your destiny. If you say I am tired, I am poor, I am unloved, you are not describing a fact. You are issuing a command. You are signing a contract with the universe, and the universe, being an impartial servant, rushes to fulfill that order. The reason so many fail to achieve their desires is that they are living in a state of split energy. They desire wealth, but their inner being says, I am struggling. They desire love, but their fundamental feeling is, I am lonely. You cannot plant a seed of corn and expect to harvest wheat. You cannot plant a consciousness of lack and expect to harvest abundance. The journey we are embarking on today is a journey of identity shifting. We are moving from the identity of the creature to the identity of the Creator. The creature reacts, the Creator acts. The creature waits for the evidence of the senses before believing. The creator believes, and by believing, produces the evidence. Think of your mind as a film projector in a movie theater. The light in the projector is your consciousness. The film reel is your state of mind, the sum total of your beliefs and assumptions. The screen is the physical world. If you do not like the movie playing on the screen, it does no good to run up to the screen and try to tear it down. It does no good to yell at the characters. You must go back to the projection booth. You must change the film. This masterclass is the manual for the projection booth. We are going to learn how to splice the film, how to choose a new reel, and how to project a masterpiece instead of a horror story. This requires a suspension of your disbelief and a suspension of your sensory evidence. Your five senses are wonderful tools for navigating the physical world, but they are terrible masters. They are the anchors that keep you trapped in the past. Everything your eyes see right now is an echo of a past thought. The room you sit in, the clothes you wear, the bank balance you possess, these are fossilized thoughts. They are dead. They have no power over you unless you breathe life into them by reacting to them. The moment you react to a circumstance with fear or anger, you are revitalizing it. You are planting the seeds for it to reoccur in your future. To break this cycle, you must learn to live in the dimension of imagination. Imagination is not child's play. It is the workshop of God. It is the actual reality. When you imagine something, you are not engaging in fantasy. You are entering a reality that exists in a higher dimension. Consider the architect. Before the building stands in stone and steel, it stands in the mind of the architect. He sees it clearly. He walks through its halls in his imagination. He knows every angle and every corner. To the passerby, the lot is empty, overgrown with weeds. But to the architect, the building is already finished. He does not need to see the brick to know the building exists. He draws the plans based on his inner vision, not based on the empty lot. You must become the architect of your life. You must dare to see the structure of your success, your health, and your happiness standing tall and firm, even when the lot of your physical life looks empty and barren. This is what we call living in the end. It is the art of disregarding the weeds of your current circumstances and holding true to the blueprint of your desire. Why is this so difficult for us? Why do we struggle to maintain this vision? It is because we are addicted to the outside world. We crave validation from our senses. We say to ourselves that I will believe I am wealthy when I see the money. But the spiritual law says you must believe you are wealthy to see the money. It is a complete reversal of the world's logic. The world teaches you to be a realist. I teach you to be an idealist, for the ideal is the only real. The realist is trapped in the loop of creating the same limitations over and over again. The idealist breaks the cycle. This awakening requires a mental discipline that few possess, but which you can cultivate. It requires you to be the guard at the gate of your mind. Every hour of every day, thoughts and suggestions try to enter your mind. The news tells you the economy is crashing. Your friend tells you that relationships are hard. Your body tells you that you are getting old. These are visitors knocking at your door. You do not have to let them in. You have the power to accept or reject. When you awaken the God within, you become selective. You only entertain the guests that bring gifts of joy, expansion, and abundance. We are going to explore in this lecture the specific tools, the 5 lines, the 6 words, the revision of the past. But all of these tools rely on this foundational understanding. You are not your body. You are not your past. You are the formless, infinite awareness that is currently wearing the mask of a person. That formless awareness is God. It is the same power that created the stars and the galaxies. It has not lost any of its power by becoming you. It has only forgotten itself. This lecture is your remembrance. It is a wake-up call to the sleeping giant within you. When you begin to grasp this, truly grasp it, fear vanishes. What is there to fear when you know you are the creator? What can threaten you when you know that you are the dreamer of the dream? If a monster chases you in a dream and you realize you are dreaming, the monster becomes harmless. You can even turn the monster into a butterfly. That is the level of control you actually have over your physical life. But you must be willing to die to your old self. You cannot drag the old victim mentality into this new world of power. You cannot be the poor man and the wealthy man at the same time. You cannot be the lonely woman and the loved woman at the same time. You must let the old man die. This is the psychological death spoken of in the scriptures. It is not a physical death, but a letting go of the old concepts of self. You must take off the rags of your limitations and put on the robes of your divinity. This feels uncomfortable at first. We are comfortable in our misery because it is familiar. We know who we are when we are struggling. We have a story to tell our friends. We get sympathy. But when you step into your power, you give up the right to complain. You give up the right to blame. You stand naked before the universe, acknowledging that everything around you is your own creation. This takes courage. This is why the path is narrow, but the reward is a life of limitless freedom. As we proceed, I want you to hold this feeling of expansion. Do not contract back into the little shell of your problems. Your problems are small. Your consciousness is vast. When you expand your awareness, problems dissolve because they lose the energy that sustained them. We will talk about how to handle setbacks, how to manage the time between the seed and the harvest, and how to maintain the feeling of the wish fulfilled. But right now, in this introduction, your only job is to say yes to the possibility. Say yes to the idea that you are greater than you have ever imagined. Say yes to the truth that the kingdom of heaven is not a place you go to when you die, but a state of consciousness you enter while you live. It is within you. It has always been within you. The separation between you and your desire is an illusion of time and space. In the realm of imagination, there is no distance. There is no delay. Everything exists in the eternal. Now, the version of you that is successful is existing right now. The version of you that is healthy is existing right now. The version of you that is deeply loved is existing right now. You do not have to create these versions. They are already finished creations. Your task is to tune into them. Think of your consciousness as a radio. All the stations are broadcasting simultaneously. 98.5 is playing jazz. 101.3 is playing rock. You do not create the music. You tune into the frequency. If your life is playing the static of misery, it is because your dial is set to the frequency of misery. You cannot demand the radio station to change its broadcast. You must turn your dial. You must shift your attention. Attention is the hand that turns the dial. What you pay attention to grows. What you take your attention away from withers and dies. Awakening the God within is essentially the mastery of attention. It is the ability to take your attention away from the lack in your life and place it entirely with feeling on the abundance in your imagination. This sounds simple, yet it is the hardest thing you will ever do because your senses are screaming for your attention. Your bills are screaming. Your pains are screaming. To ignore the screaming of the senses and listen to the whisper of your desire is the act of true faith. Faith is not blind hope. Faith is loyalty to the unseen reality. It is the refusal to accept the appearance of things as the final truth. When you can look at an empty bank account and feel the gratitude of abundance, you have mastered the law. When you can look at a broken relationship and feel the warmth of love, you have mastered the law. You have proven that you are superior to the facts of life. This is the invitation. Are you ready to stop being a thermometer that just reads the temperature of the room? Are you ready to become the thermostat that sets the temperature? The thermometer has no power, it just reflects. The thermostat has all the power, it decides. Up until now, you may have been a thermometer going up and down with the news, with the moods of others, with the stock market. Today, you decide to be the thermostat. You set the temperature of your life to success, to joy, to peace, and you hold it there. You hold it there not by force, but by the quiet conviction of knowing who you are. The world will eventually have to match your temperature. It is law. It cannot do otherwise. We are about to enter the practical application of these truths. We will discuss the 5 foundational lines that act as the code for this new operating system. These lines are not just affirmations, they are structural pillars for your new house of being. But before we build the pillars, the ground must be cleared. That is what we are doing now. We are clearing the weeds of doubt. We are clearing the rubble of victimhood. We are standing on the bedrock of the I am. Feel the solidity of your own being. Before you are a name, before you are a gender, before you are a job title, you simply are. That sense of existence, that pure awareness, is the clay from which you will mold your masterpiece. Do not let this moment pass as just another intellectual exercise. The intellect is a wonderful servant but a terrible master. We are not here to argue philosophy. We are here to practice alchemy. We are turning the lead of your current life into the gold of your dreams. This requires heat. The heat is your passion, your desire. Desire is not a bad thing. Desire is the voice of God knocking at the door of your consciousness, asking to be let in. Your desire for a better life is not a temptation. It is a prophecy. It is the promise of what you are capable of becoming. If you could not achieve it, you would not desire it. The desire itself is the proof of its own possibility. So, as we prepare to go into the specific techniques, I ask you to open your mind completely. Drop the cynicism, drop the analysis, become like a little child. The kingdom belongs to those who can imagine like a child. A child does not worry about how the castle will be built. The child simply plays. We are going to play the game of life, but we are going to play it by the high rules, the divine rules. We are going to play it from the inside out. You are the operant power. You are the king or queen of your domain. The scepter of power is in your hand. That scepter is your imagination. Do not give it away to others. Do not let the news or your neighbors hold your scepter. Grip it firmly. The silence that follows my voice is not empty. It is filled with your potential. In the next few hours, we will fill that silence with the blueprints of a new destiny. We will construct a life that is worthy of the God that dwells within you. You are not small. You are not insignificant. You are the universe becoming aware of itself. Let us now begin the construction of your new world, starting with the 5 fundamental lines that will anchor your reality in the truth of your divine nature. Stand tall in your consciousness. The sleeper has awakened. The creator is ready to create. Let us begin. Now that we have awakened the dreamer within and acknowledged that we are the operant power of our own universe, we must equip ourselves with the tools of creation. It is not enough to simply know you are the creator. You must understand the mechanics of how creation is brought forth from the invisible to the visible. We are going to explore 5 specific lines, 5 declarations of truth that act as the architectural pillars of your new reality. These are not mere affirmations to be repeated like a parrot. They are psychological blueprints. They are commands issued from the throne of your higher consciousness to the vast machinery of the universe. When you understand these lines deeply, when you feel their weight and their truth, you move from being a passive observer of life to an active director of destiny. Let us examine them with the seriousness they deserve, for they are the codes that reprogram the software of your existence. The first line is the foundation of all that follows. I am the creator of my reality. You must let this statement sink past your intellect and into your bones. To say you are the creator is to accept a level of responsibility that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. It means that there is no one to blame. You cannot blame your parents, your boss, the economy, or bad luck. Every circumstance in your life, whether you label it good or bad, is a harvest of seeds you planted in the past. Some seeds were planted consciously, but most were planted unconsciously through your habitual thoughts and reactions. When you wake up in the morning and declare that you are the creator of your reality, you are taking back the power you previously gave away to the outside world. You are stepping out of the victim role. A victim reacts to the world. A creator acts upon the world. Imagine a master artist standing before a blank canvas. The artist does not wait for the canvas to tell him what to paint. He does not beg the paint to form a beautiful picture. He holds the vision within his mind, and his hand moves to externalize that internal vision. You are that artist, and your life is the canvas. The events of your day are the brushstrokes. If you look at your canvas and see a mess, do not despair. You are the creator, which means you have the power to paint over it. You have the power to start a new scene right now. This declaration is your daily reminder that you are not a cork bobbing helplessly in the ocean of life. You are the ocean itself, and you are the tide. This understanding leads us seamlessly to the second line, which explains the mechanism of your power. My imagination is the workshop where I shape my future. This is perhaps the most misunderstood concept in human history. We have been taught that imagination is a place of retreat, a fantasy land for children and daydreamers. We use phrases like, "It is only your imagination," to dismiss things that are not physically present. I tell you that this is a fatal error. Imagination is not a hideout, it is the engine room of reality. Everything you see in the physical world, the chair you sit on, the clothes you wear, the device you are listening to, was once a mere image in the human imagination. It had no physical substance. It was invisible. But someone held that image, refined it in the workshop of their mind, and eventually it hardened into the facts of life. Your imagination is the God force within you. It is the workshop where you forge the prototype of your future. When you enter this workshop, you are stepping out of the limitations of the three-dimensional world. In your imagination, you do not need money to be wealthy. You do not need medicine to be healthy. You do not need another person to be loved. You can appropriate these states instantly, but you must use this workshop correctly. Most people use their imagination to run horror movies. They imagine the worst-case scenarios. They replay arguments that haven't happened yet. They visualize failure. They are using the divine workshop to manufacture misery. To master this line is to commit to a mental discipline where you only allow your imagination to dwell on what you desire to experience. You must learn to enter this workshop and close the door behind you. Shut out the noise of the senses. In the silence of your mind, construct the scene that implies your wish is fulfilled. Make it vivid. Do not just see it, be in it. Touch the furniture in your imaginary house. Smell the ocean air of your imaginary vacation. Hear the voice of your friend congratulating you. The subconscious mind does not know the difference between a physical experience and a deeply felt imaginal experience. When you shape your future in this workshop with intensity and repetition, the subconscious accepts it as real and begins to move mountains to bring it to pass in the outer world. Once you have shaped your desire in the workshop of imagination, you must apply the third line, "What I assume, I become." This brings us to the law of assumption. An assumption is an act of faith. It is taking something that is not yet visible and treating it as if it were true. It is wearing the feeling of the wish fulfilled before the wish appears. Assumptions are the lenses through which you view the world. If you assume you are unwanted, you will see rejection in every glance, in every unanswered text message, in every silence. You will behave in a way that invites rejection, and the world will confirm your assumption. But if you dare to assume you are cherished, you will walk with a different posture. You will interpret events differently. You will radiate a frequency that attracts love. The law is absolute. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. And you are what you assume yourself to be. This is not about fake behavior or pretending to be something you are not for the sake of others. It is an inner transformation. To assume a state means to inhabit it psychologically. Imagine an actor preparing for a role. If he is to play a king, he does not just read the lines, he assumes the consciousness of royalty. He adopts the mindset of a king. He feels the weight of the crown even when he is wearing a baseball cap. He walks with dignity. He speaks with authority. Eventually, he is no longer acting, he has become the character. You must do the same with your desire. If you desire to be successful, you must assume the consciousness of success now, amidst your current struggles. You must ask yourself how you would feel if you were already the person you want to be. Would you be anxious? Would you be jealous? No. You would be confident, generous, and calm. Therefore, to become that person, you must practice that feeling now. You must wear the feeling of success until it fits you naturally, until it is no longer a costume but your own skin. Your assumption, though false at the moment of its inception, if persisted in, will harden into fact. The world has no choice but to reshape itself around your core assumptions. To maintain these assumptions, we must master the fourth line. My inner conversations shape my outer world. This is the secret that few ever discover. We are constantly talking to ourselves. From the moment we wake up until the moment we fall asleep, there is a continuous monologue running in our heads. We argue with imaginary opponents, we justify our actions, we complain about circumstances, we rehearse conflicts. These inner conversations are not harmless chatter. They are the breeding ground of your future. Your inner speech is the vibratory signature you are sending out to the universe. If your inner conversation is a constant stream of complaining, you are ordering more things to complain about. If you are mentally arguing with your boss, you are cementing a relationship of conflict. You are literally writing the script for the next scene of your life, and then you are surprised when the actors say the lines you wrote for them. You must become a vigilant guardian of your inner dialogue. Observe what you are saying to yourself. Is it supportive? Is it kind? Is it aligned with your new assumption? If you want to be wealthy, you cannot have inner conversations about how expensive everything is. You cannot mentally criticize wealthy people. You must align your inner speech with your desire. Start having mental conversations from the premise of your fulfilled desire. Hear your friends congratulating you in your mind. Hear yourself replying with gratitude. If you catch yourself slipping into a negative inner argument, stop immediately. Do not fight it. Simply rewrite it. Revise the conversation. Change the ending. Make it conform to your ideal. By controlling your inner speech, you control the emotional atmosphere of your mind. And the emotional atmosphere of your mind dictates the climate of your life. When your inner speech matches your fulfilled desire, the manifestation is inevitable. It is like laying down the tracks for the train of your reality to travel upon. The train must follow the tracks. If you lay down tracks of abundance and love in your inner speech, your physical reality will arrive at those stations. This brings us to the fifth and final line, the crown jewel of this creative process. I am already that which I desire to be. This is the ultimate collapse of time. Most people live in a state of I will be. They say, I will be happy when I get the job, or I will be secure when I have the money. This is a trap. I will be is a confession that I am not, and because the universe reflects who you are, if you are saying I am not, the universe will give you more of not having. To manifest your desire, you must move from the state of wanting to the state of having. You must occupy the end. In the quantum field of possibilities, every version of you already exists. The wealthy you, the healthy you, the loved you, they are all existing right now in the eternal now. You do not have to create them, you only have to tune into them. When you declare, I am already that which I desire to be, you are anchoring your consciousness in the finished result. You are refusing to accept the evidence of your senses that says you are lacking. This requires a spiritual boldness. It requires you to walk by faith, not by sight. If you are sick, you dare to assume the feeling of health. You do not wait for the pain to leave to feel grateful. You feel grateful for your healing now, and the healing follows. If you are lonely, you sleep in the feeling of being deeply loved and partnered. You do not look for the partner to give you the feeling. You generate the feeling to summon the partner. This line is the death of desire as we know it. You cannot desire what you already have. If you truly feel you are already that person, the desperate longing fades away, replaced by a deep sense of relief and gratitude. That sigh of relief is the signal that the seed has been planted. The pregnancy has begun. You no longer look for signs because you know it is done. You go about your day with the quiet confidence of someone who has already won the lottery and is just waiting for the check to clear. The money is yours. The reality is yours. These 5 lines, I am the creator. Imagination is the workshop. Assumption is the law. Inner speech is the tool. and the state of being is the key. Form a complete system. They are not separate ideas but gears in a single machine. You begin by accepting responsibility as the creator. You go into your workshop to forge the vision. You assume the feeling of that vision being true. You support that assumption with your inner conversations. And finally, you live in the conviction that it is already done. When you integrate these 5 lines into your daily life, you become unstoppable. You are no longer fighting the world. You are flowing with the creative power of God that flows through you. You are aligning yourself with the fundamental laws of the universe. I urge you to write these lines down. Look at them every morning. Let them be the first thoughts that enter your mind before the world tries to rush in with its problems. Remind yourself who you are. The world will try to tell you that you are small, limited, and helpless. These 5 lines are your shield and your sword against that lie. They are the truth of your being. As you practice them, you will notice a shift. At first, it may be subtle. You will feel more peaceful. You will be less reactive. Then, you will see coincidences starting to happen. Doors will open. Phone calls will come. Money will appear. Health will improve. These are not miracles in the sense of breaking natural laws. They are the natural fulfillment of the spiritual laws you are now applying. You are operating the machine of reality manual instead of letting it run on autopilot. Do not be discouraged if you fail at first. If you catch yourself blaming others, simply remind yourself, no, I am the creator. If you catch yourself imagining fear, simply step back into your workshop and forge a new image. If you catch your inner speech arguing, pause and rewrite the script. It is a practice. It is a muscle that grows stronger with exercise. The old man, the old self with its limitations, will fight to survive. It will scream for attention. It will point to your bank account and say, look, it is empty. You are fooling yourself. But you will stand firm in your new understanding. You will say to your senses, get thee behind me. You will stand on the invisible truth until it becomes the visible fact. This is the noble work. This is the reason you are here. You are here to awaken to your own divinity and to express it fully in this world of form. These 5 lines are your pathway home. Walk it with confidence. Walk it with persistence. And watch as your world transforms into a masterpiece of your own design. We have established the 5 foundational lines of creation, the architectural pillars of your new reality, but now we must journey into the very sanctuary of the temple itself. We must identify the builder. We must answer the most ancient and profound question ever asked by human lips. Who am I? If you do not know who you are, your tools of creation will be useless in your hands. You will be like a child trying to operate a complex machine without understanding its power source. Chapter 2 is the heart of this masterclass because it deals with the only reality that truly exists. We are going to speak about the art of focusing on self. But let me be very clear from the outset. When I speak of focusing on yourself, I am not speaking of the little self that the world knows. I am not speaking of the face you see in the mirror, nor the name on your birth certificate, nor the job title on your business card. Those are merely the masks and costumes you wear. I am speaking of the wearer of the mask. I am speaking of the invisible, formless, infinite presence within you that simply knows that it is. I am speaking of your I am. You must understand this fundamental truth. If you are to change anything in your world, your consciousness is God. This is not a metaphor. This is not poetry. This is the literal fact of existence. The creative power that formed the galaxies, that spins the planets, that breathes life into every living thing, is not a deity sitting on a throne in a distant heaven. It is the very awareness that is listening to these words right now. When you say, I am, you are announcing the presence of God. You are declaring your own existence, and in that declaration lies all the power of the universe. The tragedy of human life is that we have taken this divine name, this I am, and we have dragged it through the mud of limitation. We say, I am tired, I am poor, I am sick, I am unlucky. We take the name of the Creator and we attach it to the chains of our slavery. To focus on yourself properly is to strip away all these attachments and return to the naked, pure feeling of existence. It is to be still and know that I am is God. Most people live their entire lives distracted by the circumference of the circle, never visiting the center. They are obsessed with the shadows on the wall, the political events, the opinions of others, the fluctuations of the market, the behavior of their neighbors. They believe that if they can just rearrange the furniture of the world, they will be happy. They try to change people, they try to accumulate things, they fight against circumstances. But this is the great error. The world you see outside of you has no life of its own. It is a mirror. A mirror has no ability to generate an image. It can only reflect what is placed before it. If you look into a mirror and see a frown, you can scrub the glass for 1,000 years. You can shout at the reflection. You can try to force it to smile, but it will never change until you smile. The world is that mirror. It is yourself pushed out. Every person you meet is reflecting a specific aspect of your own consciousness. Every circumstance you encounter is the physical hardening of your own inner atmosphere. Therefore, to focus on the outside world is the height of madness. It is a distraction that keeps you powerless. To regain your power, you must withdraw your attention from the mirror and place it entirely on the face that is on your own self. This brings us to a radical principle that is difficult for the ego to accept. There is no one to change but self. You may think your problem is your difficult boss, or your ungrateful partner, or your unruly child. You may think your problem is the government or the economy, but I tell you that these are only the messengers. They are showing you what you are consenting to in your own secret mind. If you feel disrespected at work, it is because you carry the consciousness of being disrespected. The boss is merely the actor playing the part you wrote for him. If you feel unloved in your relationship, it is because you are whispering to yourself that you are unlovable. Your partner is merely confirming your assumption. This is why focusing on yourself is the only way to transform your life. When you change your conception of yourself, the world must change to match it. It has no choice. It is under compulsion to reflect your new state of being. Let us discuss the practical art of this self-focus. How do you do it? You begin by observing your reactions. Your reactions to life are the greatest diagnostic tool you possess. They reveal your true state of consciousness. If someone cuts you off in traffic and you explode in anger, that anger was not caused by the other driver. It was residing within you, waiting for a trigger to release it. If you receive a bill and your stomach tightens with fear, that fear is not in the paper bill. It is in your consciousness of lack. By observing these reactions without judgment, you begin to see the self you have been creating. You begin to see the house you have built. And once you see it, you can choose to renovate it. Focusing on yourself means constantly curating the feeling of I am. It means choosing to identify with the noble, the lovely, and the true, regardless of what the senses dictate. This is where the true work begins. You must learn to trust your inner self more than your outer senses. The senses are useful for navigating the physical world, but they are liars when it comes to truth. The senses tell you that you are alone in a room, but the inner self knows you are connected to all of creation. The senses tell you that your bank account is empty, but the inner self knows you are the source of all abundance. To focus on yourself is to withdraw your allegiance from the senses and place it on your imagination. When you close your eyes and withdraw your attention from the physical world, the I am remains. In that silence, you are free. In that silence, you are not a failure, you are not old, you are not sick, you are pure potential. It is in this holy state of pure potential that you plant the seeds of your new life. You simply dare to assume that you are the person you want to be. You do not ask permission. You do not ask how it is possible. You simply appropriate the feeling. Many will ask if this is selfish. Is it not narcissistic to turn one's back on the world and focus only on oneself? I tell you that this is the most generous thing you can do for the world. You cannot help the poor by being one of them. You cannot help the sick by being sick alongside them. You cannot bring peace to the world if you are at war within yourself. By raising your own consciousness, You raise the consciousness of the entire world because we are all one. There is no separation. We are all branches of the same vine. When the sap rises in the vine, it feeds all the branches. When you lift yourself up to a state of abundance and joy, you become a light that illuminates the darkness for everyone around you. You influence others not by your words or your preaching, but by your presence. People will feel the change in you. They will respond to the new frequency you are broadcasting. The difficult boss will suddenly become kind or will be removed from your experience. The distant partner will suddenly become loving. They will not know why they are changing, but you will know. You changed the cause, and the effect had to follow. Consider the story of the great artist who paints a masterpiece. He does not look at the other paintings in the gallery and try to copy them. He goes within. He consults his own vision. He focuses entirely on bringing forth what is inside him. Your life is your canvas. Why are you looking at your neighbor's canvas? Why are you envious of another's success? To look at another with envy is to deny your own godhood. It is to say that God has given to another what he has withheld from you. But God is your own consciousness, and God gives to you exactly what you give to yourself. If you want what another has, do not take it from them. Go within and appropriate the state of consciousness that possesses it. The universe has infinite channels to deliver it to you. Do not limit the infinite by thinking there is not enough. To focus on yourself is to know that you are the source of your own supply. There is a profound peace that comes when you finally get this. The struggle ends. The straining and striving cease. You realize that you do not have to chase your desires. You do not have to hunt for success. You simply have to stabilize your own being in the state of success, and success will hunt you down. It will find you in the most unexpected ways. This is what the scriptures meant when they said to seek first the kingdom, and all these things shall be added unto you. The kingdom is the realm of your own consciousness. All these things are the cars, the houses, the relationships, the health. They are the shadows that follow the substance. Most people are chasing the shadows and ignoring the substance. I am inviting you to become a person of substance. Anchor yourself in the conviction that you are already that which you desire to be. Let us deepen this practice. Tonight, when you lie down to sleep, you have a divine appointment with yourself. Do not bring the world into your bedroom. Leave the news, the problems, the arguments outside the door. Lie flat on your back and relax your body until you can no longer feel it. Let the physical world fade away. Then turn your attention inward. Ask yourself, how would I feel if I were now the person I long to be? Do not look for the answer in words. Look for the answer in sensation, in feeling. Catch the mood of the wish fulfilled. It might be a feeling of relief. It might be a feeling of ecstatic joy. It might be a deep, quiet gratitude. Whatever that feeling is, bathe in it. Marinate your consciousness in it. Do not try to force a picture. The feeling is the secret. The feeling is the magnet. If you can fall asleep in that feeling, you have successfully impregnated the universal subconscious with your desire. You have planted the seed. Your work is done for the day. You can sleep the sleep of the just, knowing that the greater power within you is working the night shift to bring your assumption to pass. But what about the next morning? This is where true discipline is required. You cannot be a king at night and a beggar in the morning. You must carry the fragrance of that state with you into the day. When you wake up, before you put your feet on the floor, remember who you are. Remember that you are the temple of the living God. Remind yourself that the world is your mirror. If you see something you dislike during the day, do not react. Pause. Go within. Adjust your focus. Say to yourself, this is a shadow. It has no power. I am the reality. By constantly bringing your focus back to the self, back to the I am, you starve the old problems of their lifeblood. You see, problems only survive because we feed them with our attention. We nurse them. We talk about them. We worry about them. We keep them alive. When you focus on your true self, you withdraw that food. The problems wither and die, and new solutions, new growth appears in their place. This art of focusing on self requires a certain kind of ruthlessness. You must be ruthless with your own negativity. You cannot afford the luxury of a negative thought. You cannot afford the luxury of feeling sorry for yourself. Self-pity is a poison that blinds you to your own power. When you feel sorry for yourself, you are affirming that you are a victim, and the universe will give you more reasons to be a victim. You must stand tall in your own consciousness. You must claim your heritage. You are the child of the Most High. You are the operant power. This does not mean you will become arrogant or cold. On the contrary, when you truly love and value the God within you, you will see that same God in everyone you meet. You will treat the beggar and the king with the same respect because you know that behind the mask they are the same being as you. You will become more compassionate because you understand the struggle of the soul to awaken, but you will no longer be entangled in their dramas. You will be in the world, but not of it. Imagine a lighthouse. The lighthouse does not run around the island looking for boats to save. It stands firm on its rock. It shines its light. It focuses on being a light, and by simply being what it is, it guides the ships to safety. You are the lighthouse. Your stable, positive, abundant state of consciousness is the light. By maintaining your focus on your ideal self, you save yourself and you save your world. Do not let the storms of life shake you from your rock. Let the waves crash. Let the winds howl. They are only passing phenomena. You are the eternal I am. You were before the world was, and you will be after the world is gone. As we move through this masterclass, keep this center of gravity. Every technique we discuss, every principle we explore, hangs on this one hook. You are the cause. The world is the effect. Never reverse this order. Never give power to the effect. Keep your eye single. Keep your vision clear. The moment you take your eyes off the vision and look at the obstacle, you sink like Peter in the stormy sea. But the moment you return your focus to the I am, to the power within, you rise again. This is the daily practice. This is the moment-by-moment discipline. It is a silent work. No one needs to know you are doing it. You do not need to announce it on social media. You do not need to convince your family. In fact, silence is the vessel that holds the power. Leak your power to no one. Just live it. Just be it. So, I invite you now to make a covenant with yourself. Promise yourself that from this moment forward, you will be the guardian of your own mind. You will not let the vandals of doubt and fear enter your temple. You will keep the flame of your desire burning on the altar of your heart. You will honor the God within by daring to be great, by daring to be happy, by daring to be free. The world is waiting for you to take your throne. The elements are waiting to obey your command. But the command must be given, and it must be given not with words, but with the silent, unshakable conviction of your own being. Focus on self. Know thyself. Ivan Mai, be thyself. For in this knowledge lies the key to the kingdom of heaven, right here on earth. Let us now move forward and see how this focused self can orchestrate not just one, but a symphony of desires all at once. Before we go deeper into the specific technique of how to practice this self-focus tonight, I want to invite you to make a small commitment to your own awakening. If these truths are resonating with your soul, if you feel a remembrance stirring within you, take a moment to subscribe to this channel. By doing so, you are not just following a channel, you are joining a community of conscious creators who are dedicated to mastering the law. Click the subscribe button now, and let us continue this journey of transformation together. Now, let us discuss the practical art of this self-focus. We have now established the foundation of your new identity as the creator, and we have learned the art of withdrawing your focus from the world of shadows to the inner sanctuary of the I am. Now we arrive at a crossroads where many students of this law become paralyzed. It is the crossroads of complexity. You look at your life and you realize that you do not just want one thing. You are a multifaceted being with a multitude of desires. You want financial abundance, yes, but you also crave radiant health. You want a romantic partnership that stirs your soul, but you also want a successful career that stimulates your mind. You want peace for your family, travel for your spirit, and recognition for your talents. The human mind, trained in the school of limitation, looks at this long list of desires and panics. It asks, how can I possibly manifest all of this? Do I have to take turns? Do I have to spend 1 month imagining money, and then when that arrives, spend the next month imagining health? Must I stand in line for my own blessings? This chapter is the liberation from that limited thinking. I call it the symphony of multiple desires because I want you to change the way you view the structure of reality. Imagine a great symphony orchestra. You have the violins, the cellos, the trumpets, the drums, and the flutes. If the conductor insisted that only one instrument could play at a time, you would not have music. You would have a disjointed series of noises. The beauty of the symphony lies in the simultaneity of the sounds. They all play together, different notes, different rhythms, yet they blend into a single magnificent movement. Your life is meant to be a symphony, not a solo. You do not have to pause your desire for love to manifest money. You do not have to sacrifice your health to achieve success. The God within you is not a God of either or. The God within you is the God of and. Let us look at the nature of your own consciousness. When you walk into a dark room and flip the switch, does the light negotiate which corner of the room to illuminate first? Does it say, I will light up the chair now, and perhaps the table later? No. The light fills the entire space instantly and effortlessly. Your consciousness is that light. When you occupy a state of being, you are lighting up the entire room of your life. The reason many of you feel overwhelmed is that you are trying to use the flashlight of the ego instead of the floodlight of the I am. You are trying to micromanage the details of how your desires will come to pass. You think that you must construct a complex visual scene for every single specific thing you want. You think you need a scene for the new car, another scene for the wedding ring, another scene for the promotion. And so you exhaust yourself. You turn the joyful act of creation into a chore. I am here to give you a technique and a perspective that will simplify your spiritual work while multiplying its power. We must move from the specific to the general, from the fragmented to the unified. We must find the feeling that implies the fulfillment of all your desires at once. Think of a diamond. A diamond has many facets, many small, flat surfaces that catch the light. One facet might represent your wealth, another your health, another your relationships. But they are all part of one single stone. You cannot hold the diamond without holding all its facets. What we are looking for is the diamond state of consciousness. This is a state where you are not thinking of the money or the health or the love separately, but you are dwelling in the state of total fulfillment that encompasses them all. What is the feeling that binds all your desires together? It is the feeling of relief, of satisfaction, of isn't it wonderful? If you were truly living your dream life right now, if you had the money, the health, and the love, how would you feel? You wouldn't be running around in a state of high anxiety, checking your bank account every 5 minutes. You wouldn't be desperately looking for a doctor. You wouldn't be lonely. You would be calm. You would be secure. You would have a deep, abiding sense that all is well. This feeling of all is well is the master key. It is the composite feeling that contains within it the seeds of every specific desire. Let us discuss the practical application of this. I propose to you the technique of the composite scene. Instead of creating 5 different imaginary scenes for 5 different desires, construct one single scene that implies the fulfillment of them all. This requires you to be clever. You must be the playwright of your own mind. Construct a scene where you are meeting a friend, someone you trust and love. In this scene, imagine you are having a conversation. The friend looks at you, their face beaming with happiness for you, and says something like, I have never seen you look so happy. You truly have it all now, don't you? And you reply, with all the feeling you can muster, yes, it is miraculous. Everything has fallen into place perfectly. I am so grateful. Analyze what we have just done. In that short dialogue, you did not mention the specific amount of money. You did not mention the specific medical test result. You did not mention the name of your lover. But by accepting the friend's statement that you have it all, and by feeling the truth of your reply that everything has fallen into place, you have implied the fulfillment of every single desire in your heart. You see, the subconscious mind is a master of implication. It deals in associations. If you are truly happy and grateful that everything has worked out, then by law the money must be there, the health must be there, and the love must be there. If any one of those were missing, you couldn't truthfully say that everything has fallen into place. So by capturing the feeling of the whole, you automatically drag the parts with it. This approach bypasses the logical mind's tendency to worry about the how. The logical mind asks, but how can I start a business and travel the world and raise a family all at once? There isn't enough time. The logical mind thinks in linear time. It sees life as a series of hurdles to be jumped one by one. But your imagination operates in the quantum field, in the fourth dimension. In that realm, time is not a straight line. It is a landscape. All possibilities exist simultaneously. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled for all your desires, you are tuning into a version of reality where the how has already been solved. You are engaging an infinite intelligence that knows how to weave the threads of your life together into a perfect tapestry. It knows how to bring you the career that allows for travel. It knows how to bring you the partner who supports your business. It can organize coincidences that your logical mind could never predict. Your job is not to figure out the logistics. Your job is to occupy the end. Let me share a deeper truth about why this works. Your desires are not actually separate. We label them with different words: health, wealth, love, but at their core, they are all just different expressions of one single desire. The desire to be free to express your divine nature. You want money because you want the freedom to move and create. You want health because you want the freedom to enjoy your physical experience. You want love because you want the freedom to share your being. So ultimately, you are seeking the state of liberty. When you capture the feeling of freedom, of expansion, of joy, you are hitting the bullseye that covers all the targets. Consider the human body. It is a miracle of simultaneous action. Right now, as you listen to me, your heart is pumping, your lungs are breathing, your stomach is digesting, your cells are dividing, your nerves are firing. You do not have to consciously command your heart to beat and then pause to tell your lungs to breathe. If you had to manage your body linearly, you would die in seconds. A greater intelligence manages the complexity of your biology simultaneously. Do you not think that the same God wisdom that manages your biology can manage your biography? Do you not think the power that spins the planets can handle your career and your love life at the same time? Of course it can, but you must trust it. You must step out of the way. You get in the way when you worry. You get in the way when you try to force the timing. You get in the way when you doubt. The symphony of multiple desires requires you to become a conductor, not a micromanager. The conductor does not run back and forth playing every instrument. The conductor stands on the podium, holds the vision of the music, and keeps the tempo. Your consciousness is the podium. Your assumption is the baton. You stand in the state of it is finished, and the vast orchestra of the universe responds to your lead. If you waver, if you doubt, the music becomes chaotic. But if you hold the note, if you sustain the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the harmony is inevitable. Let's address the fear that having it all is too much or greedy. We have been conditioned by a society that glorifies struggle. We are told we can't have our cake and eat it too. We are told that if we are rich, we will be lonely, or if we are spiritual, we must be poor. These are lies born of a poverty consciousness. The universe is infinite. There is no shortage of anything. Your having does not deprive another. In fact, the more you have, the more you have to give. When you are healthy, wealthy, and loved, you are a massive asset to the world. You are a beacon of hope. You have the resources to help others. So drop the guilt. It does not serve you, and it certainly does not serve God. God desires to express fullness through you. To deny your desires is to choke the flow of the divine expression. Now, let us refine the technique of the single unified feeling. Tonight, I want you to experiment with a lullaby method. As you drift off to sleep, instead of visualizing a scene, try using a short phrase that encapsulates the feeling of total success. A phrase like, "Thank you, Father," or simply, "Isn't it wonderful?" Repeat this phrase like a mantra, but do not just say the words. Let the words be the carrier wave for the emotion. With every thank you, feel the wave of gratitude washing over you for the marvelous life you are now living. Feel the relief. The feeling of relief is perhaps the most potent feeling of all because it implies that the struggle is over. It implies that the mountain has been climbed and you are now enjoying the view. If you are worried about 5 different problems and suddenly all 5 were solved, what would be your dominant emotion? Relief. Deep exhale of the soul relief. That is the feeling you want to capture. Some of you may find that when you try to imagine having it all, your mind throws up contradictions. You might think, I want to be a famous actor, but I also want a quiet private life. The logical mind says these are opposites, but the imagination transcends opposites. In the 4th dimension, there is a way. Perhaps you become famous for your work but are invisible to the paparazzi. Perhaps you find a sanctuary that gives you the privacy you crave. Do not limit the how. Just dwell in the feeling of being satisfied with both your career and your home life. If you feel satisfied, the universe must deliver the conditions that produce satisfaction. It is law. There is a beautiful efficiency in this method. It saves you time. It saves you mental energy. Instead of spending an hour visualizing 10 different things, you spend 10 minutes feeling the oneness of your perfect life. You become a person of single eye. The scriptures say, if thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. This means if your focus is unified on the end result of fulfillment, your whole reality will be full of the manifestations of that fulfillment. A divided mind creates a divided life. A unified mind creates a unified life. I want you to walk through your day tomorrow carrying this secret knowing. Look at the world which may still show signs of lack. You might see the bills on the table. You might feel a pain in your knee. You might sleep alone. But deep inside, you hold the diamond. You know that these appearances are just the echoes of your old fragmented thinking. You do not react to them. You smile inwardly. You say to yourself, I remember when I used to worry about these things. Notice the tense, I remember when. You are putting the current problem into the past tense, even while it is staring you in the face. This is a powerful psychological move. It asserts your supremacy over the facts. You are living in the state where the problem is already a memory. Remember, the bridge of incidents, the series of events that leads to the fulfillment of your desires is not your concern. It might be that you lose your current job, which seems like a disaster, but it forces you to start the business that brings you the wealth and the freedom you craved. It might be that a relationship ends, shattering your heart, but that ending clears the space for the partner who matches your new state of consciousness. Do not judge the events of the day. You do not know the full picture. You only know the end. Trust the end. The end has a way of arranging the means. If you stay faithful to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even the stumbling blocks will be turned into stepping stones. As we conclude this chapter on the Symphony of Desires, I want you to feel the lightness of this truth. You do not have to carry the burden of figuring it all out. You can lay that burden down. You are invited to the banquet of life, and you do not have to choose between the bread and the wine. You are the guest of honor. The table is spread. All you have to do is accept it. Accept it in your imagination. Accept it in your feelings. Say yes to the whole magnificent picture. Do not let anyone tell you that you are asking for too much. You are the offspring of the infinite. How can the infinite ask for too much? Can the ocean ask for too much water? Can the sky ask for too much air? You are made of the substance of desire. Desire is simply the energy of creation seeking a form. Let it flow. Let the symphony play. And do not be surprised when the world begins to dance to your tune. In the next section, we will delve into the specific language of abundance, the 6 words that can restructure your financial reality. But before we go there, rest in this knowing you are whole. Your life is a unity, and in the eyes of the God within, you are already complete, lacking nothing, possessing all. Hold this feeling, sustain it, and watch the miracle unfold. We arrive now at the threshold of the subject that troubles the human heart perhaps more than any other. We have spoken of the Creator, of the Self, and of the symphony of desires. But now we must ground these high spiritual truths into the pavement of your daily reality. We must talk about substance. We must talk about money, wealth, and the flow of material resources. For many of you, this is where the spiritual rubber meets the hard road of existence. You can meditate on peace, you can visualize health, but when the bill arrives in the mail and the bank account shows a number that is too small, your faith wavers. The cold wind of financial fear blows through the temple of your mind and extinguishes the candle of your hope. I am here to tell you that this fear is unnecessary. It is born of a fundamental misunderstanding of who you are and where your supply comes from. In this chapter, I will hand you a key, a linguistic key composed of 6 simple words that has the power to unlock the vaults of heaven. But words alone are empty shells. It is the understanding filling the words that gives them their explosive power. The 6 words are these: I am the source of all abundance. I want you to pause and let the gravity of that sentence settle upon you. Do not rush past it. I am the source of all abundance. Most of the world lives in the exact opposite state of consciousness. They believe that the job is the source of abundance. They believe the economy is the source. They believe their clients, their inheritance, or their government is the source. They see themselves as the receptacle, the bucket waiting for the rain to fall. They live in a state of dependency, always looking outside of themselves for their sustenance. And because they look outside, they are filled with anxiety. What if the job is lost? What if the economy crashes? What if the client leaves? When you believe the source is external, you are a slave to the external. You are a puppet dancing on the strings of circumstance. But when you declare, I am the source, you cut the strings. You proclaim your independence from the world of shadows. You reclaim your position as the generator of your own reality. Let us dissect this statement to understand its mechanical operation in the universe. We begin with I am. As we established in the earlier chapters, I am is the name of God. It is the creative agency of the universe. Whatever follows I am becomes the law of your life. When you say I am the source, you are identifying your central consciousness with the generative power of supply. You are stating that wealth is not something you go out to get. It is something that flows out from you. Consider the sun. The sun does not look to the planets to give it light. The sun does not build the earth for its warmth. The sun is a generator. It radiates light because that is its nature. It is the source of light in its system. You must become like the sun in your own financial system. You must realize that abundance is a state of consciousness that radiates outward to form money, opportunities, and material goods. The money in your pocket is just the shadow cast by your inner radiance of wealth. The tragedy of the modern man is that he worships the channel and ignores the source. Your job is not the source. Your job is a channel. Your business is not the source. Your business is a channel. Your investments are not the source. They are channels. The source is your consciousness. When you confuse the channel with the source, you become attached and fearful. If a pipe bursts in your house, you do not say, "Oh no, I have run out of water forever." You simply fix the pipe or install a new one because you know the water comes from the reservoir, not the pipe. Similarly, if you lose a job or if a business fails, you should not despair if you know you are the source. You simply construct a new channel. You manifest a new job, a new idea, a new avenue for the wealth to flow. The water is infinite. Only the pipes change. When you internalize the 6 words, I am the source of all abundance, you lose the fear of loss. You realize that you can never lose your wealth because you can never lose yourself. You could be dropped in the middle of a desert, stripped of all possessions, and if you hold this consciousness, you would turn that desert into an oasis. The world would rearrange itself to feed you, clothe you, and prosper you because you are broadcasting the signal of supply. Now, how do we apply this practically in the face of debt and lack? This is where the discipline of the mystic is tested. When you hold a bill in your hand, your habitual reaction may be a contraction of the stomach, a feeling of less than, a thought of I am losing money. This reaction validates poverty. It tells the subconscious mind, I am not the source, I am a victim of this demand. You must reverse this immediately. When you pay a bill, you must do it with the attitude of a king bestowing a gift. You must say to yourself, I am the source. I circulate this money freely, knowing that as it leaves my hand, it creates a vacuum that even more abundance must rush in to fill. Nature abhors a vacuum. When you give or spend with a joyous heart, acknowledging yourself as the source, you are keeping the wheel of circulation turning. The ocean does not fear evaporating into the clouds because it knows the water will return as rain. You must have the confidence of the ocean. Many of you are blocking your own abundance because you are hoarding. I do not mean saving. Saving is wisdom. I mean hoarding out of fear. You hold on to every cent because you do not trust that more is coming. You squeeze the life out of your money. Money is energy. It is meant to move. It is called currency because it must flow like a current. When you block the flow out of fear, you block the flow in. By declaring, I am the source of all abundance, you relax your grip. You spend with wisdom but without anxiety. You tip generously. You pay your debts with gratitude for the services received. You invest in yourself. You act like a generator, not a battery that is slowly running out of charge. The generator makes more energy the faster it spins. Spin your consciousness of wealth. Let us address the word all in this phrase, source of ALL abundance. We are not just speaking of dollars and cents. That is too limited. We are speaking of the abundance of ideas, the abundance of energy, the abundance of love, the abundance of time. When you are the source, you never run out of creative solutions. If you need an idea to save your business, you go within, to the source, and draw it out. If you need vitality, you draw it out. You are a self-sustaining ecosystem. The kingdom of heaven is within you. This means the treasury of the universe is within you. Why are you begging at the gates of the world when you have the key to the vault in your pocket? The beggar mentality asks, who will give me a job? Who will lend me money? The creator mentality asks, how can I express the wealth that I am? This shift in identity requires a radical change in your inner conversations. Stop saying, I can't afford it. Even if you choose not to buy something at this moment, do not say, I can't. Say, I choose not to purchase this right now, but the supply is there. Never affirm limitation. Every time you say, I can't afford it, you are slamming a door in the face of your own good. You are telling your subconscious to keep you in a bracket where you cannot afford things. Instead, look at the luxury car, look at the beautiful home, and say, I accept this as a possibility for my life. I am the source that can create this. You may not physically possess it yet, but do not deny your ability to create it. Keep the mental doors open. There is a psychological state I want you to capture, the feeling of havingness. Most people live in the feeling of wantingness. Wanting is a state of lack. Having is a state of abundance. How do you feel when you have plenty of money in the bank? You feel secure. You feel options. You feel a quiet confidence. You walk a little taller. You are not desperate. You must capture this feeling of havingness before the physical money appears. You must walk down the street feeling that you are the source of all the wealth you see. When you see a beautiful building, remember, the power that created that building is the same power that is in me. Do not feel separated from the wealth of the world. Feel connected to it. Claim it in your imagination. Tonight, I want you to try a specific exercise with these 6 words. As you lie in bed, close your eyes and visualize yourself as a radiant center of light. Imagine that from your heart, streams of golden energy are flowing out to every area of your life. See this energy turning into money in your bank account, turning into new business opportunities, turning into gifts and blessings. While you hold this image, repeat the words slowly, savoring them like a fine wine. I am the source of all abundance. Feel the truth of it. Feel the relief of it. You are not waiting for the world to give to you. You are giving to the world, and the world is reflecting back your glory. Sleep in this consciousness of being the source. Some of you will say, but Neville, the facts are staring me in the face. I have rent due on Tuesday and no money. I understand the pressure of the facts, but I ask you, have the facts helped you? Has worrying about the facts changed them? No. Worrying has only solidified them. I am asking you to dare to turn your back on the facts for a moment and look at the truth. The facts are the past, the truth is the eternal now. If you can, even for 5 minutes, drop the worry and step into the feeling of being the source. You open a portal. You create a shift in the atmosphere. The solution may not come in the way you expect. It may not be a check in the mail. It may be an idea. It may be a meeting. It may be a sudden delay in the rent that gives you time. Infinite intelligence has ways that you know not of. But it cannot work for you if you are strangled by fear. You must loosen the knot of fear with the declaration of abundance. Remember, wealth is nothing more than a confidence game. I do not mean a con, I mean literally a game of confidence. The word confidence comes from the Latin confide, with faith. Wealth is created by those who have faith in their ideas and in their value. Poverty is the absence of confidence. It is the belief in powerlessness. By using these 6 words, you are building your spiritual confidence. You are brainwashing yourself, washing your brain of the dirt of poverty thinking. You are scrubbing away the belief that you are small and helpless. You are installing a new operating system that says, I am infinite. I am generative. I am the provider. When you become the source, you also become a magnet. People like to be around people who radiate abundance. It is attractive energy. Desperation is repellent energy. Have you ever noticed that when you desperately need a sale, it rarely comes? But when you are relaxed and feeling prosperous, business flows in. This is the law at work. By declaring I am the source, you eliminate the smell of desperation. You become the flower that attracts the bees, rather than the hunter trying to catch them with a net. You simply bloom, and the abundance comes to partake of your nectar. Do not let the simplicity of these 6 words deceive you. In the spiritual world, complexity is often a trap of the ego. The truth is always simple. I am the source of all abundance is a complete theological and psychological revolution. It places the crown where it belongs on your head. It removes the begging bowl from your hand and replaces it with the scepter. I warn you, however, that the old man, the old self, will fight this. The voice of common sense will argue with you. It will say, don't be ridiculous. You are a clerk earning minimum wage. You are not the source of anything. When that voice speaks, realize it is just the echo of your past conditioning. Do not argue with it. Do not fight it. Just gently return to your truth. I hear you fear, but I choose to believe that I am the source of all abundance. Persistence is your weapon. You must say it until you believe it. You must believe it until you see it. Look at the history of the world. Look at the men and women who rose from nothing to build empires. Did they wait for the economy to be perfect? No. They had an inner conviction that they could create value. They knew, instinctively or consciously, that they were the source of their own fortune. You have the same mind as they do. You have the same creative power. The only difference is the direction of your focus and the content of your inner speech. Change the speech, and you change the outcome. As you go through your day tomorrow, play a game. Every time you touch money, whether a coin, a bill, or a credit card, say silently, I am the source. When you receive money, say, I am the source attracting this. When you spend money, say, I am the source circulating this. Keep the awareness on the source, not the paper. The paper is just a symbol. You are the reality. Ultimately, this is about freedom. Financial abundance is not just about luxury. It is about the liberty to be who you came here to be without the constraints of lack. It is about having the resources to express your love, your art, and your compassion. God does not want you poor. A poor man cannot help the poor. A sick man cannot help the sick. You glorify God by expressing your fullness, and abundance is part of that fullness. So do not feel guilty for desiring it. Claim it. Own it. Be the source of it. Let these 6 words become the background music of your life. Let them play on a loop in your subconscious. Let them displace the old songs of I can't and it's too hard. Over time, you will look back at your current financial struggles as a distant dream, a nightmare from which you have awakened. You will stand in a spacious place, surrounded by the fruits of your own consciousness, and you will know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the world is indeed yourself pushed out, and you are the magnificent source of it all. This realization of being the source prepares us for the next crucial step. We must learn to navigate the trap of wanting. For as long as you want, you cannot have. In the next chapter, we will explore the paradox of desire and how to move from the consciousness of seeking to the consciousness of finding. But for now, stand firm in your new title, the source of all abundance. We have journeyed through the awakening of the Creator, the focus on the I Am, the symphony of desires, and the declaration of abundance. Now we arrive at the most subtle and dangerous snare on the spiritual path. It is a trap so cleverly disguised that millions of well-meaning seekers fall into it and remain stuck there for a lifetime. It is the trap of wanting. You might ask, how can wanting be a trap? Is not desire the fuel of life? Yes, desire is the fuel, but wanting is the exhaust. There is a profound linguistic and metaphysical difference between desiring a state and living in the state of wanting. In the English language, the word want has two meanings. We use it to mean desire, but its original definition is lack. If a man is found wanting, it means he is found lacking. When you say, I want success, you are essentially affirming, I lack success. This distinction is not merely a play on words, it is the operational code of the universe. The universe is a literal listener. It does not hear your intent, it hears your resonance. If your dominant resonance is I want, the universe dutifully responds by giving you more of the experience of wanting. It keeps the carrot dangling just out of reach so that you can continue to fulfill your affirmation of wanting. To manifest your dream, you must stop wanting it and start being it. This chapter is about the great psychological transition from the state of seeking to the state of having. It is about closing the gap between you and your desire. As long as you want something, you are confirming that it is separate from you. You are placing it over there, in the distance, in the future. But we have established that the Creator operates in the eternal now. There is no future in the creative act. To say, I will be happy is a guarantee that you will never be happy, for tomorrow never comes. It is always today. Therefore, you must learn the art of bringing the future into the present. You must learn to appropriate the feeling of the wish fulfilled before the external confirmation appears. This is the hardest discipline because it requires you to defy the testimony of your senses. Your eyes tell you the bank account is empty. Your ears tell you the silence of loneliness, but your imagination must stand firm and say, it is done. Let us analyze the vibration of waiting. Most people spend their entire lives in a waiting room. They are waiting for the promotion, waiting for the soulmate, waiting for the economy to turn, waiting for retirement. They believe that their life will truly begin when these events occur. This attitude of waiting is a rejection of the present moment. And since God is the I Am, the present tense existence, rejecting the present is rejecting the only power that can change your life. When you wait, you are telling the universe that you are incomplete. You are broadcasting a signal of not yet. And the universe mirrors this back as a perpetual delay. Have you ever noticed that the more desperately you want something, the more it eludes you? This is the law of reversed effort. When you struggle and strain and want with desperation, you create resistance. You push the object of your desire away. It is like trying to grab a bar of wet soap. The harder you squeeze, the faster it slips from your hand. You must learn to hold your desire lightly, with the confidence of one who already possesses it. The shift we are discussing here is the shift from thinking of to thinking from. This is a crucial distinction that Neville Goddard emphasized, and we must explore it deeply. To think of your desire is to see it as an object outside of yourself. You might visualize a new car, but you are seeing it on a screen in your mind, separate from you. You are admiring it, longing for it, hoping for it. This is thinking of. It creates separation. It reinforces the state of I do not have. On the other hand, to think from your desire is to step into the picture. It is to look at the world from the vantage point of already having the car. You are not seeing the car, you are seeing the road through the windshield. You are feeling the steering wheel in your hands. You are feeling the leather seat beneath you. When you think from the state, you are united with it. You are no longer wanting it. You are experiencing it. The trap of wanting is solved by the act of unification. You must merge with the desire until the desire vanishes, and only the fulfillment remains. Consider the feeling of a satisfied hunger. When you have eaten a magnificent meal, do you sit there and say, "I want food"? No. The desire has been consumed by the fulfillment. You feel satisfied. You feel content. You might even forget about food for a while, because the need is met. This is the state you must cultivate regarding your ambitions. If you want to be wealthy, you must achieve the inner feeling of satiety regarding money. You must feel so psychologically full of wealth that you no longer desperately crave it. This sounds paradoxical. How can I stop craving money when I have bills to pay? You do it by drinking from the inner well. You go into your imagination and you saturate yourself with the feeling of abundance until your inner thirst is quenched. When you come out of that meditation, you should feel a sense of relief, as if the money is already in the bank. That relief is the signal that you have escaped the trap of wanting. You have moved into the state of having, and once you are in the state of having, the physical manifestation must follow. Let us discuss the toxic relationship between need and creation. Need implies that you are a whole trying to be filled. Creation implies that you are a whole expanding its boundaries. You cannot create from a place of neediness. Neediness repels. Have you ever met a person who was desperate for a relationship? Their energy feels sticky, heavy, and demanding. People instinctively back away from them. Why? Because neediness is a form of theft. It is trying to take energy from the outside to fill a void on the inside. But the moment that same person falls in love with themselves, becomes happy, and stops hunting for a partner, suddenly they become magnetic. Everyone wants to be around them. Why? Because they have switched from wanting to being. They are radiating love, and therefore they attract love. You must apply this to everything. Do not need the job. Be the employee who brings value. Do not need the money. Be the source of value. When you drop the need, you drop the resistance. The trap of wanting is maintained by the when, then fallacy. When I lose 20 pounds, then I will love myself. When I get the $1 million, then I will feel secure. This is the great lie. The universe does not work that way. The universe works on as so. As you feel, so it becomes. You must love yourself now to lose the weight. You must feel secure now to attract the millions. You must invite the feeling of the end result into your present consciousness. This requires you to be an emotional alchemist. You must be able to generate feelings without an external cause. The average person is a thermometer. They only reflect the temperature of their environment. If the environment is sad, they are sad. If it is happy, they are happy. But you are a master. You are the thermostat. You set the temperature. You choose to feel successful before the success arrives. You choose to feel celebrated before the applause starts. By doing this, you force the environment to match your setting. How do we break the habit of wanting? We do it through the practice of gratitude. Gratitude is the antidote to wanting. It is impossible to simultaneously feel sincere gratitude for something and feel the lack of it. When you give thanks, you are acknowledging receipt. You thank someone after they have given you a gift. Therefore, to give thanks before the physical appearance is the ultimate act of faith. It tricks the subconscious mind into believing the gift has already been delivered. Wake up every morning and say, "Thank you for my wonderful life. Thank you for this financial freedom. Thank you for this perfect health." Do not say it as a plea. Say it as a confirmation. Feel the gratitude tearing down the walls of wanting. When you are grateful, you are in a state of reception. You are open. You are abundant. Many of you are addicted to the adrenaline of the chase. You think that if you stop wanting, you will lose your ambition. You will become lazy. This is a misunderstanding. There is a difference between ambition and wanting. Ambition is the joyful intention to create. Wanting is the painful awareness of absence. You can be ambitious without being desperate. You can aspire to great heights while being perfectly content with where you are. In fact, you climb faster when you are not carrying the heavy baggage of dissatisfaction. Creation should be a play, not a struggle. When a child builds a castle in the sand, they are not stressed. They are not saying, "I desperately need this castle." They are playing, they are joyfully expressing. We must return to that state of divine play. "Except ye become as little children, ye shall not enter the kingdom of heaven." The kingdom is the state of manifestation. To enter it, you must drop the heavy, serious, desperate energy of the adult wanting and adopt the light, imaginative, playful energy of the child having. I want to address the silence that happens after you have accepted the state of having. There is often a period of time, a time lag between your inner shift and the outer appearance. During this time, the wanting will try to creep back in. Your senses will say, "Look, nothing has changed. You are fooling yourself. This is the test. This is the fire that refines the gold." When these thoughts come, do not fight them. Simply smile at them. Say to the doubt, "I remember when I used to worry about this, but now I know it is done." Treat the doubt as a memory of the past, even if it feels present. By categorizing it as past, you strip it of its power. You must remain faithful to your new identity. You are not a person trying to get rich. You are a rich person waiting for the bank to catch up with your reality. The difference in attitude is subtle, but it is the difference between failure and success. Imagine you have ordered a package from a reliable company. Once you click order, you stop worrying. You do not sit by the door crying, "I want my package." You go about your life. You know it is coming. You have the receipt. Your imaginal act is the receipt. You have placed the order with the universal source. Why are you stressing? Why are you still wanting? To continue wanting after the order is placed is to doubt the integrity of the company. It is to doubt God. Stop checking the tracking number every 5 seconds. Trust the process. The wanting is a signal that you do not trust. The having is the signal that you trust completely. Let us look at the concept of surrender. Surrender is often misunderstood as giving up. It is not giving up on your desire. It is giving up the struggle. It is giving up the how and the when. It is releasing the tight grip of control. When you stop wanting, you surrender to the flow of life. You allow the bridge of incidents to unfold. You allow the coincidences to happen. You cannot force a flower to bloom by pulling on its petals. You will only destroy it. You must provide the water and the sun and let it bloom in its own time. Your water and sun are your focused attention and your feeling of the wish fulfilled. The blooming is the universe's job. When you stay in the state of wanting, you are pulling on the petals. You are trying to force the birth before the gestation is complete. Stop it. Let go. Know that what is yours cannot miss you. There is a powerful technique I want you to use called the sigh of relief. At least once a day, sit in a quiet chair, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. As you exhale, let out a sound of pure relief. Imagine that the burden of your desire has been lifted because it has been fully met. Imagine someone just told you the good news. It's done. The money is here. The report is clean. The person loves you. Feel the tension draining out of your shoulders. That physical sensation of relief is the closest physical approximation to the spiritual state of having. If you can practice this relief, you are reprogramming your nervous system to accept the new reality. The body does not know the difference between a sigh of relief over a real event and a sigh of relief over an imagined one. And since the body is the anchor of your vibration, calming the body calms the mind and stops the frequency of wanting. You must also be careful of your language. Listen to how you speak to your friends. Do you say, "I hope," "I wish," "I'm trying"? These are the vocabulary of wanting. I hope means I doubt. I wish means I don't have. I'm trying means I expect to fail. Change your dictionary. Start saying, "I am choosing, I am creating, I am grateful for, I am looking forward to." Words are commands. Be precise with them. Do not curse yourself with the language of lack. Even if you cannot yet say, I have the $1 million to your friends without sounding crazy, you can say it to yourself, to your friends. You can say, things are moving in a wonderful direction. I feel very good about the future. That is a bridge statement. It is positive, it expects good, but it doesn't trigger your internal lie detector. But in the privacy of your own mind, go all the way. Say, I am wealthy. Ultimately, escaping the trap of wanting is about realizing your oneness with God. If you are one with the Creator, what is there to want? You own the stars. You own the cattle on 1,000 hills. The illusion of separation is the only thing that creates the illusion of lack. When you return to the center of your being, you realize you are not a beggar at the banquet of life. You are the host. The host does not want food. The host provides it. Begin to live with the dignity of the host. Walk into a room as if you own the atmosphere. Give your smile, give your attention, give your energy. As you give, you prove to yourself that you have. And as you prove you have, the wanting dissolves like mist in the morning sun. So, I invite you to drop the heavy bag you have been carrying. That bag is filled with your wants, your needs, your should-haves. It is weighing you down. It is keeping you slow and tired. Drop it. Stand up straight. Take a deep breath of the air of abundance. It is all around you. It is all within you. You do not need to chase what is already yours. You simply need to recognize it, claim it, and accept it. The mantra for this chapter is simple. I do not want because I am. Repeat that. I do not want because I am. Let that truth sink into your marrow. When you stop wanting, you start living. And when you start living from the state of the wish fulfilled, the world has no choice but to flood your life with the physical evidence of your inner wealth. In the next chapter, we will address what happens when the road gets bumpy, because even the master faces storms. We will talk about how to turn the inevitable setbacks of life into the setups for your greatest comebacks. But you will face those setbacks not as a wanting victim, but as a having victor. The foundation is laid. The trap is dismantled. You are free to move forward. We have now traversed the high peaks of spiritual realization. We have stood on the mountaintop and declared ourselves to be the source of abundance, and we have learned to escape the valley of wanting. But any master of life knows that the journey is not always a straight line upward. There are twists, there are turns, and there are sudden drops that can knock the wind out of your lungs. We arrive now at the chapter that is perhaps the most necessary for your survival and your ultimate triumph. We must talk about the dark night of the soul. We must talk about failure, heartbreak, loss, and delay. We must talk about what happens when the world seems to crumble around you despite your best imaginal acts. Most teachers will tell you to ignore the negative, to pretend it isn't there. But I am not here to offer you a spiritual bypass. I am here to hand you the philosopher's stone. I am here to teach you the ancient art of alchemy, the ability to transmute the heavy lead of your suffering into the pure gold of wisdom and power. This chapter is entitled The Alchemy of Adversity because it requires you to change your fundamental relationship with pain. You must stop seeing the setback as a punishment and start seeing it as a setup. You must realize that the very thing you think is destroying you is actually the mechanism that is constructing your new self. Let us begin by dismantling the illusion of tragedy. In the play of life, you are the author, but you are also the actor. When you are deep in character, the tragedy feels real. The loss feels permanent. But when you step back into your role as the author, the creator, you see the plot twist for what it is. It is a bridge. Neville Goddard often spoke of the bridge of incidents. This is the series of events that leads you from where you are to where you want to be. We often assume that this bridge should be made of rainbows and sunshine. We assume that if we imagine wealth, we will simply win the lottery tomorrow. But the universe is a complex and dynamic structure. Sometimes, for you to become the person who can hold wealth, the old structure of your life must be torn down. You lose the job that was keeping you small, so that you are forced to start the business that will make you great. You lose the partner who did not appreciate you, so that you are free to meet the one who worships you. The setback is not a stop sign. It is a detour sign pointing you toward a higher road. The moment you judge a setback as bad, you stop the flow of alchemy. You freeze the event in its negative state. But the moment you look at the rubble of your life and say, "This is part of the plan. This is leading me to my good," you unfreeze the energy. You allow the bridge to continue being built. Consider the physics of the arrow. To shoot an arrow forward with great force, you cannot just push it. You must pull it back. You must create tension. You must drag it backward against its will into a state of extreme discomfort. If the arrow had a consciousness, it would say, "Why are you pulling me away from my target? I want to go forward, but you are dragging me back into the darkness." But the archer knows the truth. The archer knows that the backward pull is the very thing that gathers the kinetic energy required for the flight. You are the arrow. The setback is the drawing of the bow. The further back you are pulled, the deeper the debt. The harder the diagnosis, the more painful the breakup, the greater the potential energy being stored in your spirit. You are being loaded for a launch. The question is, do you trust the archer? The archer is your own higher I am. It knows exactly how much tension is needed to shoot you to your target. Do not resist the tension. Do not curse the bow. Relax into the pull, knowing that the release is inevitable and the flight will be magnificent. This brings us to the concept of the shell. For a seed to grow, the shell must break. The shell protects the seed for a time, but if the shell never breaks, the life within can never emerge. The breaking of the shell is a violent act. It is destructive. To the shell, it is a catastrophe, but to the sprout, it is birth. Many of the setbacks you are experiencing are simply the breaking of your old shells. You have outgrown your old identity. You asked for abundance, but you were living in a container of lack. You asked for love, but you were living in a container of unworthiness. The universe, in its mercy, shatters the container. It feels like your life is falling apart, but in reality, your life is breaking open. This is why you must not cling to the past. When the shell cracks, do not try to glue it back together. Let it go. Let the old relationships, the old jobs, the old ways of thinking fall away. They are the husk. You are the grain. The alchemy happens when you stop mourning the shell and start celebrating the sprout. Now, let us discuss the most powerful tool in the alchemist's kit, the pruning shears of revision. This is a technique that can literally change your past, and by changing your past, alter your trajectory into the future. Most people are slaves to their memories. They drag the corpse of yesterday into the living room of today. They say, "I am depressed because I was fired this morning," or "I am angry because he insulted me." They review the footage of the bad event over and over again, etching it deeper into their subconscious. They are cementing the lead. To turn it into gold, you must revise it. At the end of every day, before you go to sleep, review the events of the day. Do not judge them, simply observe them. When you come to a scene that was not to your liking, the argument, the rejection letter, the accident, stop the film. Rewind it in your imagination. And then reshoot the scene. Imagine that the boss congratulated you instead of firing you. Imagine the letter was an acceptance. Imagine the argument was a moment of understanding. Some will say this is lying to oneself. It is not. It is choosing which reality you wish to serve. The physical event is dead. It is gone. It only exists now as a memory trace in your brain. If you keep the memory trace of failure, you will replicate failure tomorrow. If you overwrite the memory trace with success, you will replicate success. You are the editor of your life movie. Why leave the bad takes in the final cut? Cut them out. Replace them with the ideal. When you revise a setback with intensity, you actually change the vibration within you. You release the anger and the shame. You go to sleep feeling the relief of the revised event. And remarkably, the outer world often reshapes itself to match the revision. The firing turns into a misunderstanding. The argument is forgotten. Or, even if the physical facts remain, their emotional sting is removed, and they lose the power to hurt your future. You have neutralized the poison. You have turned the lead into gold. We must also address the time lag, which is the breeding ground of doubt. When you fall into a setback, the ego screams, "It's over. The law doesn't work." This is the test of faith. Faith is not needed when the sun is shining. Faith is a nocturnal creature. It is designed for the dark. You must understand that creation has a gestation period. When you plant a seed in the ground, it disappears. To the eyes, it is gone. It is buried in the dirt. It is in a dark, cold tomb. If you were to dig it up every day to see if it was growing, you would kill it. You must trust the darkness of the soil. Your setback often looks like a burial, but it is actually a planting. You have been planted in the circumstances that are necessary for your growth. The darkness is not empty, it is pregnant. During this time of apparent failure or delay, you must hold your inner atmosphere. You must maintain the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even when the world is showing you the opposite. This is what separates the boys from the men, the novices from the masters. Can you praise God in the hallway while you are waiting for the door to open? Can you maintain your dignity when you are mocked? If you can, you are invincible. Let us look at the story of Joseph from the scriptures, a perfect archetype of this alchemy. Joseph was thrown into a pit by his brothers. That was a setback. He was sold into slavery. That was a setback. He was falsely accused and thrown into prison. That was a setback. Years of his life were wasted in darkness. But Joseph never lost the vision of himself as a ruler. He did not succumb to the victim mentality. He used his gifts where he was. He prospered in the prison. And because of that chain of disasters, that bridge of incidents, he was in the exact right place at the right time to interpret the Pharaoh's dream and become the second most powerful man in Egypt. If he had not been thrown in the pit, he would never have reached the palace. The pit was the setup for the palace. You are Joseph. Your current pit is not your destination. It is the passageway to your throne. Do not curse the brothers who threw you in. They are unwitting agents of your destiny. Bless them, forgive them, and keep your eyes on the palace. The alchemist knows that his state of consciousness is the only reality. The circumstances are just shadows. Shadows change shape depending on the angle of the light. When you change your angle, your attitude, the shadow changes. If you look at a setback with fear, the shadow grows long and terrifying. If you look at it with curiosity and faith, the shadow shrinks. You must become the observer of your life, not just the participant. When chaos erupts, step back into the I am. Say to yourself, I am the stable witness of this storm. The storm is passing through me, but I am not the storm. This detachment creates a space of peace. In that space, you can hear the intuition that guides you out of the trouble. Panic deafens you to the voice of God. Peace opens the ear. The alchemy of adversity is about finding the eye of the hurricane. The winds of change may be tearing apart your old life, but in the center, where you dwell, there is stillness. From that stillness, you construct a new life. There is a hidden gift in every adversity, a gift that comfort can never give you. That gift is the discovery of your own strength. You do not know how strong you are until you are forced to lift a heavy burden. You do not know the power of your imagination until it is the only thing you have left. When everything external is stripped away, you are forced to rely on the internal. You are forced to find God within, because you can no longer find comfort without. This is the greatest setup of all. While the universe often bankrupts us materially so that we may become wealthy spiritually. And once we find that spiritual wealth, that unshakable connection to the source, the material wealth returns multiplied 1,000-fold. But now, we are no longer attached to it. We own it. It does not own us. We have been tempered by the fire. We are pure gold. I want you to adopt a new mantra for the tough times. When something bad happens, immediately say, this is good. I may not see how yet, but I know this is good. This is shifting me. This is preparing me. By affirming the good, you command the event to yield its blessing to you. Remember the story of Jacob wrestling with the angel. He held on to the struggle and said, I will not let you go until you bless me. You must wrestle with your setback with the same attitude. Do not run from it. Grapple with it and say, I will not let this experience pass until I extract the blessing from it. Every failure has the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit, but you must demand the benefit. You must look for it. If you wallow in self-pity, you miss the blessing. You get the pain without the prize. Be the alchemist who demands the gold. You must also understand the concept of chemicalization. In healing, sometimes a patient gets worse before they get better. The toxins are being stirred up to be flushed out. This is called a healing crisis. Your life often goes through a healing crisis when you start applying these teachings. You start imagining abundance, and suddenly your car breaks down. Why? Because the old order is being disrupted. The toxins of your old poverty consciousness are being flushed to the surface. Do not be afraid of the mess. The mess is proof that the cleaning has begun. When you renovate a house, you create dust and debris. It looks chaotic, but it is the chaos of progress. See your problems as the dust of renovation. Sneeze if you must, but keep building. Do not stop the renovation just because of a little dust. Ultimately, the alchemy of adversity forces you to answer the question, who are you? Are you a fair weather creator who only believes in your power when the sun is shining? Or are you a true master who can command the waves to be still? It is easy to believe you are God when you have money in the bank. It is much harder and much more vital to believe it when the account is overdrawn. That is when the real magic happens. That is when you prove the law to yourself. If you can stand in the midst of the wreckage and still smile, still declare I am wealthy, still feel the reality of your desire, then you have graduated. You have mastered the world. The world has no more power over you. You have conquered the last enemy, which is fear. So, my friends, look at your current struggles with new eyes. Do not pity yourself. Pity is a narcotic. It dulls the pain but weakens the spirit. Stand up, brush the dust off your shoulders, look the setback in the eye and say, I know you. You are a shadow. You have come to pass. You have come to make room for my greatness. Then, go into your silence. Use your pruning shears. Revise the memory. Feel the relief of the resolution, and walk forward with the swagger of one who knows the end of the story. The end of the story is victory. It has already been written. You are just walking through the chapter where the hero faces the dragon, and we all know what happens to the dragon. It becomes the treasure. As we prepare to close this masterclass, we move toward the final integration. We must take all these pieces, the creator, the source, the symphony, the alchemy, and fuse them into a single, unshakable state of being. You are the dreamer who has awakened within the dream. You have realized that the nightmare was only scary because you thought it was real. Now you know it is your creation. And because it is your creation, you can turn the monster into a mouse, the wall into a door, and the setback into the greatest comeback the world has ever seen. Keep walking. The dawn is not coming. The dawn is already here, inside you. We have arrived at the end of words and the beginning of experience. We have journeyed together through the valleys of the human condition and climbed the peaks of divine realization. We have dissected the anatomy of creation, from the 5 foundational lines that structure your reality to the 6 words that unlock the vaults of abundance. We have learned how to harmonize the symphony of our desires and how to alchemize the lead of our setbacks into the gold of our triumphs. But all of these techniques, all of these intellectual concepts, will remain lifeless artifacts in the museum of your mind unless we take this final, crucial step. We must integrate them into a singular, living truth. We must identify the one who is holding the tools. We must answer the ultimate question that lies at the heart of every spiritual quest. Who is the one imagining? Who is the one suffering? Who is the one triumphing? The answer is the capstone of this entire masterclass. You are the dreamer, and the world you see around you, with all its solidity, its history, its wars, and its beauty, is the dream. You must understand that when I say life is a dream, I am not speaking metaphorically. I am speaking of the actual nature of reality. In the scriptures, it is said that God fell asleep to awaken as man. You are that God who has entered a state of profound slumber. In this slumber, you have dreamed yourself into a physical body, into a family, into a job, into a set of limitations. You have made the dream so vivid, so textured, so painful, and so joyful that you have forgotten you are dreaming. You have become lost in the play of shadows, believing that the shadows have the power to hurt you or heal you. But the purpose of this lecture, the purpose of your life trials, is to nudge you into lucidity. You know what a lucid dream is. It is that moment in the middle of the night when, while still dreaming, you suddenly realize that you are asleep in bed. In that moment of realization, the monster chasing you loses its terror because you know you created it. The wall blocking your path loses its solidity because you know it is made of mind stuff. You can fly. You can change the scenery. You can rewrite the plot. This masterclass is your wake-up call to become lucid in the waking dream of life. The great dreamer within you is your wonderful human imagination. It is the I am. It is the only reality. Everything else is a projection. The chair you are sitting on is a projection of consciousness. The bank account balance you worry about is a projection of consciousness. The relationships you cherish are projections of consciousness. When you fully grasp this, you stop fighting the projection and you start changing the film reel. You realize that there is no objective reality out there that is independent of your perception. The world is a mirror that reflects the face of the dreamer. If the dreamer is angry, the world is full of conflict. If the dreamer is loving, the world is full of harmony. If the dreamer feels poor, the economy collapses. If the dreamer feels abundant, opportunities arise from the dust. You are not a tiny drop in a vast ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. This is the secret that the mystics have whispered for centuries, but which you are now ready to shout from the rooftops of your own soul. This realization brings with it a terrifying and magnificent responsibility. If you are the dreamer, then there are no victims. You cannot blame your parents for your upbringing. You cannot blame society for your status. You cannot blame bad luck for your failures. To blame is to fall back into the sleep of the creature. To accept responsibility is to awaken into the power of the Creator. I know this is a heavy burden to lift. It is easier to say it is their fault. It feels comforting to play the martyr. But the martyr never sits on the throne. The martyr dies in the arena. You are meant for the throne. You are meant to rule your own mind. And to rule, you must accept that you wrote the script. Even the painful chapters, even the betrayals, even the losses, you wrote them at a deeper level of your being to awaken yourself to your own strength. Now that you are awake, you can write a new chapter. You can write a chapter of grace. You can write a chapter of effortless success. Let us revisit the tools we have gathered, but now let us see them through the eyes of the awakened dreamer. The 5 lines we discussed in chapter 1 are not just sentences. They are the commands the dreamer gives to the dream. When you say, I am the creator of my reality, you are asserting your lucidity. The 6 words of abundance in chapter 4 are not just a mantra. They are the dreamer reminding himself of his infinite resources. The revision technique in chapter 6 is not just psychology. It is the dreamer editing the timeline of the dream. You see, nothing is fixed. The past is not granite. It is memory, and memory is imagination. You can change the past. You can change the future. You are the Lord of time. Time is just a distance in the mind, and you can cross it instantly by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The danger now, as we close this session, is that you will return to the anesthesia of the senses. You will turn off this video, and the phone will ring, or the dog will bark, or the news will flash a headline, and you will be pulled back into the hypnotic trance of the real world. The world of Caesar will try to claim you back. It will tell you that you are just a body, that you are mortal, that you are limited. It will demand your reaction. This is the battle. It is not a battle of flesh and blood, but a battle for your attention. Will you give your attention to the shadows of the world, or will you keep your attention fixed on the vision in your heart? You must be in the world, but not of it. You must walk the streets of the city, pay your taxes, do your work, but all the while keep a secret sanctuary in your heart where you know who you really are. You are a spy from the kingdom of heaven, living in the land of earth. You play the part, but you do not believe the mask. I want you to imagine what your life will look like a year from now if you stay faithful to this vision. Imagine waking up in the morning not with anxiety, but with the thrill of the artist approaching the canvas. You know that whatever happens today, you can handle it, you can transmute it, you can use it. Imagine looking at your bank account and seeing it not as a source of stress, but as a reflection of your inner generosity. Imagine your relationships being mirrors of your own self-love. This is not a fantasy. This is your destiny if you practice the law, but you must practice. You cannot just listen, you must do. You must be the doer of the word, not the hearer only. The law of assumption works whether you believe in it or not, just as gravity works whether you believe in it or not. But if you use it consciously, you fly. If you ignore it, you fall. Choose to fly. The world is waiting for you to awaken. The world is crying out for leaders, for healers, for creators who know the secret. When you heal yourself of fear, you heal the world of fear. When you lift yourself out of poverty, you lift the collective consciousness out of poverty. You are not insignificant. Your rising is the rising of God. Every time you refuse to react to negativity, every time you choose to assume the best, every time you revise a bad memory, you are adding light to the sum total of human existence. You are doing the work of the Father, and the Father, who sees in secret, will reward you openly. The reward will be a life that flows, a life where doors open before you knock, a life where the right people appear at the right time, a life of synchronicities and miracles. This is the naturalness we spoke of. Miracles are only unnatural to the sleeper, to the awakened one. Miracles are the natural order of things. So, here is my challenge to you. Do not let this just be another video you watched. Do not let the algorithm sweep you away to the next distraction. Make a covenant with yourself right now. Decide that today is the day of your resurrection. Rise from the tomb of your old limitations. Roll away the stone of doubt. Step out into the sunlight of your imagination. Declare to the universe, I am here. I am awake. I am ready to claim my inheritance. You do not need anyone's permission. You do not need a degree. You do not need money. You only need the conviction of your own I am. I am going to ask you to do something concrete, to seal this covenant. This is your call to action. It is a physical act that signifies a spiritual commitment. First, I invite you to join this community of awakened creators. If these words have resonated with the truth in your soul, if you felt a shiver of recognition, then you belong here. Click the subscribe button. Do not do it for me. Do it for yourself. Do it as a signal to your subconscious mind that you are subscribing to a new way of living. You are subscribing to truth. You are subscribing to power. Let this channel be a lighthouse for you. When the storms of life try to blow you off course, come back here. Listen again. Remind yourself of who you are. We are building an army of light, an army of conscious dreamers, and we need you in our ranks. Secondly, I want you to leave your mark. I want you to ground this energy before it dissipates. Go to the comment section below. I do not want you to just write a nice compliment. I want you to write a declaration. I want you to type these 4 words. I am the creator. Type it in capital letters. As you type each letter, feel that you are etching this truth into the bedrock of reality. I am the creator. Let this be your signature on the contract of your new life. When you see others typing it, know that you are not alone. You are surrounded by thousands of other souls who are waking up. Read their comments. Feel the power of the collective I am. This simple act of typing is a psychological anchor. It takes the invisible thought and makes it a visible action. It starts the momentum. And finally, share this message. If you know someone who is suffering, someone who is lost in the nightmare, do not preach to them. Do not try to force them to change. Simply share this gift with them. Give them the key. Whether they use it or not is their choice. But you have done your part. You have offered the lifeline. By giving, you receive. As you spread the light, your own light grows brighter. As we part ways in this moment of time, remember that we are never truly apart in the realm of mind. I am you, and you are me. We are all different masks worn by the one Spirit. I honor the God in you. I see the greatness in you even if you do not yet see it in yourself. I know that you are capable of infinite love, infinite wealth, and infinite joy. Trust your imagination. It is the only thing that will never lie to you. It is your connection to the divine. Go now and dream a beautiful dream. Dream a dream so magnificent that it shakes the foundations of the earth. Dream it, assume it, be it. For you are the way, the truth, and the life. The power is in your hands. The time is now. It is done. I am going to ask you to do something concrete to seal this covenant. First, if you haven't already, join this community of awakened creators by subscribing. Let this channel be your daily reminder of who you truly are. Second, leave your mark in the comments below. Declare your truth by typing, I am the Creator. Let this be your signature on the contract of your new life. And finally, if you know a soul who is wandering in the dark, share this lecture with them. Be the light that wakes them up. Go now, trust your imagination, and live from the end. It is done.